Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 138 of a year of change. Today we're going to continue on with our little sodium kick, where we're just sort of starting things out and watching what we're doing with our sodium levels. I mentioned this yesterday as well, and just sort of want to touch on today with that little balance of sodium and potassium. I know normally Thursdays we sort of do like, oh, this is in the news or this is a new study. This isn't really a new thing, but it sort of fits because it's a medical thing. Anyway, basically we'll sort of go through a quick run through. With the sodium and the potassium, it's those two things, that's what balances out your blood pressure. Essentially the blood pressure is just when your kidneys start working and stuff, the amount of water that you bring in and everything, that does get added to your, this is very basic layman's terms, this get added to your volume of the water content of your blood. So the more water there's in there, the higher the volume, the more pressure there is, and it causes a bit of a problem down the road. When you have too much sodium, or actually I should sort of go back a little bit, your kidneys sort of help filter that water out through the cell walls, and it pulls out the excess water, stores it in your kidneys, and then filters everything, and doesn't store it in your kidneys, stores it in your bladders, you can pee it out. So when you have too much sodium, that balance gets all wonky, and it sort of wrecks the ability of the kidneys to sort of help flush that stuff out. So potassium has the opposite effect, and it lowers your blood pressure because it helps the cell walls pull the water through and sort of have everything all go function properly the way it needs to be. So there is a balance there between sodium and potassium. But what ends up happening in my situation, which I haven't really had it tested, but I know just from the volume of sodium that I'm eating, I probably have high blood pressure. So what ends up happening is that it sort of starts messing with your kidneys and all the bad stuff happens. It can lead to heart disease. It can lead to a whole slew of different problems. So you need that potassium to sort of counteract that. But you can have too much of a good thing. And if you have too much potassium, then it's not as bad as the high blood pressure, but that causes low blood pressure. And that can start messing with your kidneys as well. So it's just sort of a matter of trying to find out where that sweet spot is. So for sodium, we know. We know where that is. It's somewhere between 1,500 and 2,300 milligrams per day on average. But with potassium, I should have probably looked this up. I don't know what it is. However, it doesn't really matter because a lot of the foods that we buy, they don't show how much potassium is in it. There's no law stating that they have to list the amount of potassium that's in there. It's not really one of those essential nutrients that is regulated that they have to put on there. So basically trying to figure out what is going to give you the best bang for your buck. Now, when I first started looking at this stuff, I thought, okay, good, I need to get potassium from somewhere. So ideally what I wanted to do was to try to get things, eat the right amount of potassium on a daily basis just from food. Because I don't really want to take like supplements or, have to add anything to my diet. If I can get it in there normally, then that'll be fine. That sounded much dirtier than I intended, and I am sorry. So apparently the stuff that gives you the best levels of potassium, there are few things in there, There are a few things in there like beans and yogurt and stuff like that that will give you a bit of a boost. But the vast majority of the stuff that's going to give you, a lot of potassium, I know everyone says, oh, bananas. I bet half of you right now just were like, bananas, stupid. They have potassium. Yes, they do, but they aren't really super high up on the list. It just seems to be, everyone knows that they have potassium. But the majority of the stuff that you're going to get potassium from is going to be green leafy stuff. So it's not really leafy, but broccoli is in there. Spinach, lettuce, yes, kale is in there. Begrudgingly have to admit that kale is in there. I still have never tried it. So, but it's not way up there. It's, far down the list. It's past sweet potatoes, actually. So that'll give you an idea. So just regular fruits and vegetables should give us what we need for that potassium level. Now, one of the things that I did touch on as well when I started reading through this was, and I didn't know this until yesterday, that you can get a salt substitute, which is actually potassium. So basically, salt is just sodium chloride. We're going to do some chemistry. NaCl. Woo-hoo. Fancy. So that's where a lot of people get their sodium. That's where I get a lot of mine. And we've talked about this, about half a teaspoon of Salt gives you enough sodium for the day. I use way more than that. Or I did anyway. At the end of the week, I'll show you how little I've used of my salt shaker. It doesn't even look like it's gone down yet. Anyway, there is a substitute that you can buy that apparently gives you that same saltiness in your food. You use it just like regular salt, except it's potassium chloride. So, I mean, there are some people that were reviewing it and saying it sort of tastes a little bit metallic. It's more bitter than salty. Like there's salty in there, but there's that bitter twinge to it as well. So I thought, okay, well, I mean, it could be something I could try if I can't, get away from using so much salt. I'd rather not, but I know it's in the background there in case I just go, oh, I need something salty. But then I started reading more on it, and that's when I started noticing some really bad stuff. So for any of you that are out there that are thinking, oh, okay, well, I got to get rid of salt. I'm using a whole bunch. I'm going to try potassium chloride. Don't. Not yet. Anytime that you start fiddling around with chemistry and stuff like that, go see your doctor. They're going to know much. I'm going to give you a little bit of information now, but they're going to know a lot more than I will on pretty much everything. All the stuff that I find out, I get from quiz shows and, Sesame Street. So, but with potassium chloride, it's still a salt. There's still that saltiness to it. It just doesn't have the sodium in it, so it'll sort of help regulate stuff. However, when you're using it, especially if you already have some like an ongoing kidney issue, it can exacerbate it. It can make things so much worse. Like it can shut things down. It will make them explode. You'll be pooping out your eyes. It's just everything goes wrong. I don't know if that means that you'll be pooping from your eyes or your eyes will go in and then... Anyway, either way, it's probably bad either way, I'm guessing. I'm thinking that pooping from your eyes is probably worse than pooping your eyes. Pooping out your eyes? Or pooping out your... Yeah, I'm thinking this would be worse than that. Because with that, yeah, but that, you just... Anyway. Oh, here's a horrible image for you. Happy Thursday morning. Anyway, so with this, there are a lot of warnings all over the place with potassium chloride. And it's not because it's a dangerous chemical or anything. It's just that because you're fiddling around with your kidneys and your blood pressure and everything else, and because the majority of the potassium that we can get should be coming from regular fruits and vegetables, which we're eating anyway. It's just a matter of tweaking, having a few more green leafy things, or maybe going for potatoes every now and then, or yogurt or beans. There was white beans, I think, was way at the top. I'm going to put a description or a link in the description below. It's for Harvard Health. Once again, great people at Harvard. Thank you very much. And it's just going to have a quick little rundown of what sodium can do and what potassium can do. It has a little bit about the salt substitute in there as well. But anytime that you're looking at doing something like this, and I mean, we talked about this long ago before you started doing this, go talk to your doctor. That's what they're there for. I know there's sort of that little, oh, doctors don't know everything. They know a hell of a lot more than we do. That's why they're doctors. That's why you go to them and say, should I be rubbing this camel against my face to help cure my insomnia? They'll say, no, that's stupid, and I don't even know where you got a camel and why it's so small. But go to your doctor, talk to them first, and say, okay, here's what I'm thinking of doing. They'll go in, they'll test your blood pressure, they'll look at your kidneys and say, if you were to do this, then your kidneys are going to shut down and you will never ever pee again, and it will make things horrible. So you don't want to do that. Anything like this, always go check with your doctor. I mean, I don't think it's probably, unless you have allergies, I don't think it's a big deal to say, well, I'm just going to increase the amount of vegetables I'm eating. You're probably okay there. But again, it's different for everybody. So if you have the opportunity, go talk to them and say, okay, I'm cutting out sodium. I'm trying to bring it down to between 1,500 and 2,300 milligrams. Here's been my diet. This is probably the best way to do it. It's say, here's been my diet for the past few weeks. Say, I'm increasing the amount of fruits and vegetables that I'm eating, and I'm cutting back on the sodium. Have them check your blood pressure, and they might just say, no, you're fine. Keep going with the vegetables. If they find that there is something major, like your potassium levels are way down, then let them prescribe or at least recommend a supplement, or ask them about saying, just say, what about potassium chloride? Can I use that as a salt substitute? Let them tell you whether you need it or not. Because if you end up eating it and you don't need it, you're going to do a hell of a lot of damage. Anyway, that's the main thing I wanted to talk about, because it's one of those things that now we're sort of, we're tweaking with our body chemistry, and cutting out sugar and adding more vegetables is not anything that any doctor is going to go, whoa, no, you can't do that. That's dangerous. But saying, okay, I'm going to cut out sodium as much as I can, and then, you know, try to increase potassium. There's apparently a very delicate balance that needs to be maintained. So they're the ones that are going to be able to tell you where that needs to be. I can't imagine any doctor saying, oh, your sodium, you should increase the amount that you're eating. Unless you're just at, less than 500 milligrams, in which case your brain is going to shut down and you won't be able to do anything anyway. But, as long as you're in that healthy range, and let's face it, the vast majority of us are not going to be. We're going to be way above where we should be. I don't think very many of them are going to balk at lowering that. But the potassium thing, that's one that you really need to talk to someone who knows a hell of a lot more than I do about this stuff. I'm just going by what I've read. So that's it. But I will put that in the description below so you can read that yourself. You can go through and say, I'm an adult, I'm going to make my own decisions and eat 5 buckets of potassium and then watch my kidneys go pew, pew, and explode everywhere. It'll be great. Anyway, it's a very brief video today. I'm not really I don't have any other things to show you, anything new that came out in the news or anything like that. But where we're really sort of focusing on this week, things will peter off a little bit. Saltpeter. Yeah, salt, sodium. Shut up. Anyway, things will peter off as the week progresses, and we won't be as focused on sodium as we have been. But just where we're sort of starting out, I figured this is a good time as any to do this, instead of revisiting it 4 weeks from now and saying, oh, by the way, you shouldn't have done that, and all those people that are in the hospital now. So go in, take a look at Harvard Health at the description there. You'll be able to sort of take, it has a list of different foods there as well. It'll show the sodium content and the potassium content. The grape tomatoes, we touched on those a while ago, I think. They're very high in potassium and low in sodium, which kind of threw me off because I thought they were, maybe it's per tomato. That might be better. But yeah, it was a lot lower in sodium than I thought it was going to be because they're very acidic, and I sort of associate that with sodium as well. Just that salty, which is kind of weird. Look at the base. Anyway, chemistry. But that's it for this video because I'm going to start repeating myself and rambling on. You know where to go, you know what to do, and you know who to talk to find out what you need to know. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. In the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.